Hey there, we're back, Pod and Deliver, and we have a special guest today, Jennifer Tu, also known as Jennifer Patapong, but Jennifer Tu, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, Jacob. Hi, Ruben. How are you?
Hello.
This, you know what, Jennifer, you're our first interview of the new year, 2023.
That's right. Oh,
How
awesome.
long does it take you to remember not to put 2022? It takes me until like April, and then I started doing it the right way.
No, I was already doing it. I started a journal, and it was 2023 right away.
Oh, very good, very good. Hey, Jennifer, for our audience, can you tell
That means, by the way, that means, Jennifer, that you're a forward thinker. You're optimistic.
Oh,
That means that Jake is living in the past.
thank you for our audience. I think our audience they're not surprised by that, Jennifer,
The
just so you
first
know.
year that I've done that, actually. So
Very
I
good.
tend to live in the past.
Excellent. Now you're, like Ruben said, you're a forward lady. Hey, but tell us about your job. What do you teach, and how long have you been teaching?
Okay, so I am an elementary teacher. I teach mostly fourth and fifth grade. This year I'm teaching fifth. And I've been teaching for, oh my gosh, I've lost count. I want to say 23 years at this point.
Wow.
So yes, a long time.
At the same age level? I mean, fifth grade mostly, or?
Mostly fourth and fifth grade, mostly fourth. And then I want to say at this point, almost half of it has been fifth grade. I have taught eighth. I did teach third. I subbed a little bit, and but when I first started, I was a TA, and I was TA mostly for fourth and fifth grade teachers.
Oh wow! And then and when you TA, did you stay at that same school when you got the teaching job, or?
No.
Okay, you went somewhere else.
School, yeah.
Oh, so that's a good preview. That eighth grade year probably was the interesting year, right? Very different than fifth.
Oh boy, that was so hard. I like for me, middle school and kinder and first grade teachers are, I mean, my hat's off to those teachers because it's just so hard. Oh, and I've done kinder.
I think we all respect each other, don't we? I mean, like eighth appreciates high school appreciates elementary, preschool. But how about you though? You've been doing distant learning, correct, for these since COVID started. Is that correct?
So yeah, when we started distance learning, everybody was doing distance learning during COVID, and then we went back in person, and then halfway through, well, not even halfway. I started in last year. October, and you had to be vaccinated and all that. So came October, after that, I was put in the virtual academy, and I've been there since. So I want to say about a year and a half. Yeah.
Wow, how does it look today compared to maybe when we were doing distant learning almost a couple of years ago now?
I think when we first started doing it, I want to say that was kind of clumsy when we first started. Nobody knew what was going on. It wasn't every single day. It was, checking in with the students, doing a lesson here and there. And that was just kind of figuring it out. We were figuring it out.
Yeah.
And now it's, full-blown school online for those students that are still online. There are a lot of students still online that never went back.
Okay, and so that leads to my question, Jennifer, is this going to go on forever for you until you retire? You will be in this virtual academy?
Well, apparently not, because when norm day comes, this displacement still happens for the online academies. So how that norm day, they cut teachers, right? So that actually happened to me this year. I was the last one on that chopping board, which means I'll be the first one next year. My principal, she was so gracious and she was so awesome, she reshuffled some numbers and she saved my job this year.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm sure it's because of your, being a good teacher, and she knew that you were doing a good job and all that relationship.
I hope so, but she was able to do that, and it's some of it's beyond her control. So seniority wise, and yeah, I mean it's interesting that those, because I have a religious exemption.
Okay.
So I don't want to get into that, but
sure.
Those
that's
people
good.
who have a medical exemption did not fall in that category of getting displaced.
Okay.
Those just those who had religious exemptions.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's the group they're working on to cut. If they're going to cut, they're going to cut from that group.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I wonder if there's a lawsuit there. That seems like that's a
There is.
possibility.
You guys
Yeah.
don't know about it? There is.
Yeah,
But
I mean, for hitting the religious group, that just seems. I know, like in New York, they threw that out. So
they won. And
yeah, they won. I'm sure that will happen here. I would hope. Jeez. Now you doing this though since really 2020.
So I'm
What?
sorry. Oh, sorry, Ruben, to answer your
Yeah.
question, it doesn't look like it will be with LAUSD. But the answer is looking like no, but who knows what God decides to do.
Yeah.
But,
No, let me ask this. I remember your question, Jake. Is this something you enjoy? Because when I taught online, I did not enjoy it. And when I had a chance to go back, I was one of the few teachers who jumped at it. Do you enjoy it? I don't know. We're all different.
I'm grateful.
Yes.
I'm very grateful.
Mm.
And I do enjoy some parts of it. There are some things I do enjoy. I mean, it's always the kids that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I can, there's levels to that too. But if you ask me, would I prefer being in person? Oh my gosh, yes, because I miss those kids. There are things that I love doing in the classroom with them that I can't do right now. And one of the examples is we did a holiday activity, and it was an art project that took days to do. And, it's very different when you're online and you can only help them and show them so much, right? So that's an example, and that goes for all the core subjects too. So do I enjoy it? Some things I do, and it's because it's the kids, but
Yeah.
I miss being with them. I miss the in-person interaction. I miss there's a level of relationship building you can't do online.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the kids though? Do they? How are they? Do you feel like? I always think that there's always a few that it's good for, but in my opinion, and this is my opinion, you're more of an expert of it, that maybe the majority would be better in person, but there's always a few that of course would probably do fine online.
Right.
Would you say that, or am I off?
Oh, absolutely. Because if you think about it, learning online is really an independent studies program, like for people, for college students, how we have online college and everything's independent, right? And if you need help, most of the people who are independent learners are able to go seek help and, using resources that are online. The majority, I would say, the majority of the students that are online, I should say they shouldn't be.
Oh, wow.
I don't feel like it is very conducive to learners who need help from teachers and from parents. The kids who are unmotivated, who don't have parental support. And I'm only able to do so much, through a screen. So I would say it's not good for those kids who really, really need like a human connection, first of all, and additional support from teachers and classmates and motivation. Just if they don't have motivation, there's not much that gets done. And that's the honest truth. And, however people want to sugarcoat it, that's the truth. If you're online with them every single day, you have kids that don't show up. If they do, their screens are off. They never respond to you when you call to them. You can't get a hold of their parents. That's the same things that you see happening in the classroom. So you can just imagine that magnified and amplified, in distance learning. And so it is great for those kids who are independent learners who are very motivated. They are very resourceful. They get things done. They have just that drive. They want to do well. And they learn.
That makes sense. Now, when you're mentioning, like, obviously the kids who have that drive, they're going to do well. But how about those kids who don't? And you did mention them as well. But the parents, do you have any type of communication with them? Are you able to?
That's the majority of my job. If you think about it, I'm more than a teacher. I am the office manager. I am the person who refers the kids to the counselors and, connects the parents to the counselors, and I'm the office manager. I'm everything but the nurse.
I'm sure also you manage also the mental health of the kids too, right? I mean, talking to them about, you mentioned counselor. I'm sure that's academic, but also for
Yes.
personal issues as well,
Yeah,
correct?
we do SEL, we do, social emotional learning with them. Yeah, and there's so much of that, yeah, I mean, I'm constantly calling the parents constantly. If it's not an email, it's a phone call, and
Yeah.
leaving messages, and it's constant, it's daily, it's daily.
Jennifer, recently we did a video about a fight that broke out at my school. Now,
Mm.
normally we wouldn't do a video on a fight, but the reason why we did is it was so brutal
Wow.
that it made the news. Lawsuits, and I hate to say stuff like that because it's my school and I don't want to get in trouble myself, but possible lawsuits and law things have been popping up. That's how bad of a fight it was. But it made me reflect. It made us reflect on the idea of these particular kids who got into this fight lost a year and a half or so of socialization, and they're high school kids. They lost like their sophomore years, I believe, and part of their freshman, I think. I'm forgetting,
Been
but
almost 3 years,
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a lot. And
mhm.
I guess my question to you then is there a concern for these kids who are not in the normal peer setting?
Wow,
They
I'm
would.
so glad you asked that question, because that is,
Mm.
it's not just about social, like getting into fights. It's so much more than that. It's they don't have the social skills, because if you think about the kids that I work with, they're in the 5th grade now, and they've been online since they were in 3rd grade, maybe end of 2nd, right, at least, right, since COVID. And so these kids, I mean, think about those years in upper elementary school and how important the socialization and interaction, learning how to socialize with kids and get along, and even not getting along, and how important that is to know how to work through those things in person. So now, not only do they not have those skills, many of them, they're so self-conscious about their appearance, and they don't speak to one another with the screen on, like you and I are looking at each other right now, making eye contact, waiting until the other person is done speaking. And then just everything is on a screen. Every social interaction they have is on a screen, and that includes social media. So is that a concern for me? That's a huge yes. And then you're seeing that they don't know what to do when the problems come up, when social problems come up. So, at least if you're in person, you have to work out, you just have a disagreement, you don't like, sometimes, boys and kids will get into fights, and girls, but you kind of learn how to deal with that. But what to the extreme of violence, when you get extreme violence and they don't know how to deal with it, and then parents get involved too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very concerned about their emotional and social well-being right now, mental health. I think they want us to do so much social emotional activities, and the kids are not self-aware. They don't know how to interact with each other appropriately. Some of them do, because they have siblings.
Sure.
They have neighbors, and they do get some of that. But the ones who are either an only child or don't have that opportunity, it's really, really hard for them.
You're
Even
reminding
to-
me
go ahead.
when I was doing online learning, whenever it was, a year and a half ago, that sometimes I ended early, and I said, guys, go out and take a walk.
Yep.
Go out and talk to somebody. Do something. Do an activity. Do a physical activity. You're staring at the screen, and that's not appropriate. And I told my boss the same thing. I go, this is not good. I'm not going to keep my students the whole time. And she was really happy about that. I would say that. You'd be surprised at how some admins feel when you talk to them one-on-one. But I'm not going to do that.
But as long as you have a focus, like you had a reason, hey, I'm worried about these kids, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like even my students who are hard workers who want to learn, they are on that computer all day, like doing work. Even when we get off Zoom, I said, okay, go have a lunch break, and then come back and do your work. They just stay on there, and because they're messaging me, they're you know, and they're asking me for help or they're asking me questions. I said, this is lunch. And even on the break, I give them a break. They don't leave the screen. I said, go for a walk, stretch, go have breakfast, something, go. But no, they stay on the screen and they just will not get up and move. And so, you know, it's like, again, online, I can't do PE with them really, realistically, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are kids who want, so they have a PE log with me and they log their PE activity. And I do have kids that have parents who kind of know there needs to be a balance, but the majority of the kids are not getting enough exercise and outdoor time and sun, the vitamin D.
That vitamin D.
That vitamin D, and I tell them you need to go outside, breathe fresh air.
How about for you though? I mean, like you're at home, right, doing this. I believe your husband works at home, and your little one, I don't think he's at school yet, is he?
No, he's at
Oliver?
preschool. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
And 'cause I was saying, how do you balance that, balance all that at home, being at home, and doing your work? Is that challenging as well, or
Actually,
for your mental health?
mental health wise, I mean, it's weird to have work be at home, but you know,
Yeah.
the time, I'll be honest, like the time that I don't have to commute affords me the time to get my kids ready for school in the morning. You know, it allows me to cook dinner during my lunchtime.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I can throw something together in that half hour, and sometimes I don't eat lunch, but you know, I can go for a walk. And so, you know, that's the advantage. But the challenge really is just going, like working through the whole time because it's work hours. So I'm just working and I don't take that break where if I'm in person, the kids are at recess, I at least go for a walk, you know, have to go to the office and make photocopies or anything like that. I'm at least interacting with people, other colleagues, but I tend to just sit here and all day. But I do make it a point to get up and move around and then go for a walk when if I have like if it's sunny outside and go on my lunch or something. Yeah.
Wow. Now,
But it's hard to have that balance, but I do have a hard cutoff time. So that work-life balance, I mean, at 3:00, whatever is not done, I'm done for the day. That's my balance.
You know, we you were mentioning these students who just stare at the screen for hours and hours, but don't you wonder, adults do that too in a way. It reminds me of one time I was walking down the street in the Palms area. I used to live in the Palms area, and this woman was staring at the screen as she was walking, and she goes, excuse me, can you tell me, I'm looking at my GPS here, can you tell me where the Windward School is? And I said, this is it. Like, she was completely lost because she was staring at the screen and she was confused, but she didn't bother to look around where she was at. And I just think that a lot of, maybe that's the model too. Sometimes we give to kids and they're just following suit, you know. It's and we're not really living, right?
No, we're not. And everything is what the screen tells you to do. And I think for my students, you know, we talked about mental health earlier, right? And just, you know, of course, it's not good for you physically. You're not getting like physical activity and sunlight. But the other side of it is, for me, the screen is telling you what to do constantly. So you don't have those critical thinking skills, basic skills going on. And so they're being, I want to say, desensitized by the real world and completely absorbed by what's on the screen instead. And so their world is more of a virtual world. The reality is more of a virtual reality than what reality is. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like a lot of the kids, their reality is on the screen.
Yeah.
And they don't know what's, you know, when, like that lady, you know, and it's right there. It's right there in front of you if you look up. And I think the kids, sadly, are being pulled in that direction. I see people, grown people walking across the street, like on a crosswalk, with their phones in their hands. You know,
it's scary because you know these phones now tell you how many hours and minutes you're on the phone. And I'll just say, I talked to someone real close to me recently. I said, "Can I see those your phone?" and we're talking 15, 16 hours. I mean, and all our students are on it, you know.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, they're not doing what you're doing, which is a lot of hours, but they're still having that issue. And I don't know what the solution is, except, you know, encouraging them.
I think what I try to tell my students is the little anecdotes from my life. I remember after the election, just that whole year of 2020, I remember just thinking, you know what, I just need a break from Twitter. And I told them this little anecdote about my life. I said, I just took off Twitter for a good year, and Facebook for a good year. I said, the level of happiness in my life improved.
Mhm.
And this is the only thing that matters. And I remind them, no, life isn't adjectives and constructing a sentence and writing an essay. Life is about your happiness ultimately, and making other people happy. So reflect on. I try to throw that in there every once in a while. We talk about mental health, and we've discussed this on this channel, and not just the content. You know, so
Yep.
Right.
I guess the question for you then, Jennifer, is: are you optimistic about
About
an education for the
about
future?
education or about online learning? Well, the answer would be the
Either
same
one.
for both. Sadly, I'm not. I'm not very optimistic. I see, you know, I feel like I was not aware of the system for a very long time. And the longer I'm in it, and I feel like especially the last few years have revealed a lot to me about the education system. And even it's just not, it's not to say that it's not fixable. It will take a very determined group of people to um, reorganize and restructure what needs to be done. And actually, I was trying to put my daughter in a classical education, classical model school, you know, where they learn critical thinking skills, debating, memorization. Remember, we used to memorize when we were kids. That's all been thrown out. And so, you know, kids don't know any phone numbers if they're not in the phone. So there's just a lot of things that need to be re-implemented and reintroduced to our students if it's going to be successful. But at the current rate and the current way, the direction the system is going, it's not good. It's not looking good.
You know, that's
And
part
that's
of the
being
reason.
optimistic.
No,
But thank your honesty. Thank you.
honest. That's
Yeah.
that's fine. That's great. It's hard to be optimistic. You know, we just did a video on video on Chat GPT, which is the AI system that is writing essays for students.
Yeah,
I'm an
right.
English teacher, so it's hard to be optimistic when you see stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah,
So
AIs are doing all the work now.
Yeah.
yeah, I have a friend who's about to get her bachelor's degree. Um, I'm forgetting, I think nutrition or something. And she said that she has written in 4 years, she's written all her essays through AI.
Really?
Yeah, not one essay she's passing, she's getting her degree.
Oh my.
So much for
And-
the spell check.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Jennifer, you know, as we're wrapping it up here a little bit, I see your pictures on social media, and they're beautiful. And is that an outlet for you? Because to get out and I mean, is that one of your outlets to?
You mean photography? She does photography, Jacob? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Can you hear me? I lost my light here. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we can hear you. Forget
Okay.
the light. Just keep going.
So, yeah. So, is that how you, you know, just get some energy and positive energy?
Yeah, I think that, you know, photography has been kind of something for me for a long time now. So it's not just an outlet. I feel like it's something I have to do. Because, you know, I think we all have some kind of creativity within us, whether it's, you know, in the way we do our jobs or in the way we, or just, you know, paint, people paint. And for me, it's photography. And I love interacting with families
Right.
and watching them interact with each other. And I think that's one of the things that has come out of teaching too, is that, you know, I see the things that I see. I mean, maybe it's romanticized, but I would love to see my students, you know, and their parents interact in a way where it's filled with love and then just in sunlight and in a, you know, just, yeah, it's a way for me to kind of make up for the things that I long for that I don't see when I work with my students. That's, I guess you can say it like that. There's a connection, but it's just something that I don't see and I wish for them, you know, and yeah, but it's also for me. I mean, I document my kids and they hate it sometimes, but
No love in 40 years.
Yeah, I love photography, and I think it's a way to show families at their best, and even, you know, not so great moments, because you have little ones that have meltdowns, which is normal and great. So,
Right.
yeah, I love photography. So yeah, and then when I do, like the beginning of the year when we were in person, I would bring my camera at the beginning of the year and I would take a portrait of all of my students, like right at the beginning, like within the first few weeks.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I print them out and I use them for gifts. We make gifts for parents for the holidays or Christmas, or I'll use them in my student of the month bulletin board, and we'll have like the citizenship awards and they'll have their little picture display.
Oh, smart. That's good.
And then at the end of the year, they get to take their pictures home. So
wow.
I like doing that with them. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good activity. Wow. Well, you know what, Jennifer, we just want to thank you for being here with us. And I know that your work is different, but you're still teaching, you're still doing your best. And we do wish you the best for this next year as well. And that, you know, good things come for sure.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for having me. This is really interesting and fun. Actually,
is this your first podcast?
My work. Yes. And first interview, and no one's ever interviewed me about my work. So it's kind of neat.
It'll be a good 2023. Well, with that, thanks a lot. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.